The stretch run of MLB is finally here. Now, you're asking yourself, okay, well, what does that mean for divisional races, JB? Are they all wrapped up? Well, I could sit here and tell you, as of right now, as of September 11th, 2025, there are three division races that are pretty much set. You have the NL Central, the Brewers, unless there's just a major collapse there. Uh, Nothing against the Cubs, but the Brewers, a magical run, they're probably going to win that division. The NL East, thanks to the Mets metting as they usually do, the Phillies are going to run away with that. Without, mind you, Zach Wheeler, Trey Turner, and Alex Bohm, all away from the team right now, and Zach Wheeler probably not returning for the rest of this year. And then, of course, you have the AL Central, where yours truly called the Detroit Tigers to win that division, and they're going to win it handedly. Now, let's talk about the other ones. You have the NL West, okay? The Dodgers, yeah. If we're talking about Mr. Moneybags and Scrooge McDuck and the Howard Hugheses of the world, of course, the Dodgers would win the division every single year. But you know who's not quitting? The Friars. That's right. They're saying a little prayer, okay? They're lifting it up there. And you know who's hearing it? The baseball gods. They're hearing it because guess what is happening, as is always happening? The Dodger starters are hurt, and the relievers, they're like, what's that line from Dodgeball? Retards humping a doorknob. And then you have the AL East. I'm not saying that it can't be over. The Blue Jays have a commanding 4-game lead, but the Yankees, are they turning it on? Have they figured something out that's going on there? Now there is a silver lining. Anthony Volpe can't play. So that's good. If you're a Yankee fan, you're thanking the baseball gods because Volpe can no longer be in the lineup right now. And you know what? That meme about him throwing his girlfriend on the bed and her hitting her head on the on the back of the bed is just uh, pure gold because he can't make a throw to save his life. And then you have the AL West. The AL West. Wow. The vaunted Houston Astros area and territory for what the past decade. Well, guess what? The Astros are dealing with their own slew of injuries. Luis Garcia just came back from his 28-month absence. In his second start, he's out. Josh Hader probably won't be back for the rest of the year. So there are a lot of question marks for these Houston Astros because you know who's coming up right behind them? Yes, the Mariners, but not just the Mariners, the Rangers as well. The Texas Rangers have turned it on this last 4 weeks of the season. They just swept the Brewers. So this is a team that is primed for a run. This is a team with a Jacob deGrom who is ready to put the nail in anyone's coffin and to tell the baseball world he is not going anywhere. This is a Rangers squad that is here. The Mariners, of course, big dumper. His quest to 60 is taking a backseat to the Mariners' quest to actually taking the AL West crown from these Houston Astros. So you say, JB, where does that leave us? It leaves us with the stretch run. This is it. We have 2 weeks left of regular season baseball, and then we're off to October for the postseason for all the teams that have fought and gritted their way all the way to that point. But we are not there yet. And even the divisions with the safest leads are still not safe because one of these teams, maybe not, are a prodigy of the New York Mets who continue to amaze me with just the laughable play of that entire squad, no matter how much money Steve Cohen pours into it. Guys, this is another Friday Junior edition, the Janky edition, with JB on his iPad because the laptop ain't working Friday of box scores and bourbon. Let's get it.
Look at the box scores.
Box scores
and bourbon.
We check each other's box scores and scores online.
baseball, box scores.
So football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey.
Box scores and bourbon.
All right, JB, welcome back. Sorry about your laptop. RIP JB's laptop.
Nah, it's fine. That no RIP there. We'll we'll figure out what's going on with it.
It's technology.
Yeah.
Technology to fail us in our time of need. AI will
Yeah.
never take over because it fails you when you need it.
Hey, you know what? I hope that's true, or they're just they're gaslighting us into not thinking that Skynet is real.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what
we'll,
happens.
we'll see next week.
Hmm.
Well, welcome back, JB. Welcome to another episode of a great box scores and bourbon sports
Hmm.
talk. Start the
Yes.
episode on the right foot. Cheers ourselves in. Clink, clink,
Clink, clink,
clink.
clink.
Cheers, everyone. I was gonna say go Cubs as you showed your cup, but you'll never catch me saying those words seriously.
Hmm.
So we
Well.
have baseball on the. I always say entering the home stretch, but we are finally here. We are at the
Yeah.
official home stretch. 2
Hmm.
weeks, like you said. I think
Yeah.
as of today, as at least on the Yankees side, they have 17 games left, something like that. I think they have 17 games in the regular season. So we're here.
Hmm.
If
We
you're
are
not
here.
if you're not taking your game seriously, what are you doing? Because the
Yep.
the um the road to October is not yet defined, and I feel like this is one of the seasons where it's there's more uncertainty across the board, no matter where you look, compared to other seasons where you see who's going to end up being the division leader, and
Yep.
the races are from the wild card side, or maybe a team or two different divisions are trying to decide their division right up against the last game. But I
Hmm.
feel like this year we could, from where you see the stats right now, it wouldn't shock me if they were completely different by the time the regular season wrapped up. We have on the AL side, we have Detroit, Toronto,
Hmm.
and Houston leading their divisions. Currently, we have Boston, New York, and Seattle in the wild card spots. Those I could see moving around a lot.
Yeah. It's wild because so I want to start in the National League real quick. I'll get back to the AL here in a little bit, but the the NL wild card, the Cubs have their commanding 4 game lead over the Padres for the first overall wild card.
Yep.
And then the Padres themselves have a 3.5 game lead over the third slot, which currently belongs to the New York Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the New York Mets, of course, they're going to Met, and they have lost 6 in a row. And
Yep.
if you're ever going to lose 6 in a row, uh, middle September is not the time to do that.
Probably not the best.
And but you have the Cincinnati Reds and the San Francisco Giants, who are both a game and a half behind them. And
Yeah,
then the don't look now Arizona Diamondbacks, who I call to win the NL West this
you
year.
did.
They are 3 games back from that final wild card. And if I mean, just looking at the stats as in where these teams should be, um, there's just no reason the Mets shouldn't win at least that last wild card. But it's just becoming just I don't know, endemic of a culture with the Mets where it's like they can't finish. This
Mm-mm.
team can't finish. And and then not only can they not finish, but you have, you know, a Terry Francona Reds team who is hot on their heels. You have a Bob Melvin Giants squad who's hot on their heels.
Yeah.
And then the Diamondbacks right behind them. And so um uh, that's all interesting all on its own. And I got to tell you, out of all those teams, out of the Mets, the Reds, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks, the one team I don't want in the playoffs, if I'm anybody, is Arizona. I don't want them in the playoffs. But
It
here
was,
we are again. Look, they're creeping up. They are right there and
they were
knocking on the door.
they won their division the year that they made the World Series, correct? They weren't a wild card team that year, were they?
They were a wild card team.
Oh, they were. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
I was doubting myself, but I mean,
Yeah, they were they got in over the Cubs
okay, that
because
was
the Cubs lost by half a game and Arizona made it in as a wild card.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, looking at the standings, like I don't think there's a big threat for them to overtake the division, but there's a good chance they could. There's a very good opportunity for them to bunny hop themselves into the last spot of the wild card. That's not out of question, which is crazy considering how many pieces they sold at the trade deadline. They were full. Everything that you saw was them kind of throwing in the towel and going full on reset for next year. And somehow, whatever trades they made and whatever they saw in their players and what they had left, kind of clicked perfectly for them. And they're still in the race. I thought for sure they'd be out of it at least a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what you get when you hold on to Zach Gallen and you hold and so but it wasn't as if the Diamondbacks didn't receive players that they couldn't use this year. I mean, they
Right.
received some pretty good relievers in return, but you're right. I mean, they essentially traded anyone and everybody
Mhm.
from that squad that could be traded.
Yep.
And so it's I mean, look, Terry Lavulo is a great manager, and I don't think he gets near enough credit. I know that they lost that World Series to the Texas Rangers, in 23, but the fact that they even made it to the World Series in the first place was, I mean, the gauntlet that they went through just to get there. And, we all remember that series was against the Phillies. And,
Yep.
and so it was, you can never count this team out. Wild
Somehow.
card in 23, made it to the World Series. Of course, the Rangers just took care of them handedly.
Yeah.
And the Rangers were the superior squad that year. But and just even looking at it now, like you trade, 25% of your, or the 15% of your 25-man roster, and hey, look at us, we're 3 games out of the final wild card.
If you
So, and
ever
honestly, that's more. If you look at the way Arizona has played, they've played very streaky, and it's really a testament to just how bad the Mets have been. The Mets have just played such awful baseball, and it's like Arizona's not blowing anybody's socks off. So it's not like they're going on this incredible stretch run here. They have hot stretches and cold stretches, but the
yeah.
Mets just have extended cold stretches.
You
So
know what I
it's
love?
like a
I
giant
love that
cold
you were
sore
just
there.
I love that you were complimenting the Diamondbacks, and in the process of that complimenting them, you still found a way to crap on the Mets. That's just like go is very befitting to the way that you view the Mets.
Yeah. Yeah. I have almost 700 million reasons why I will crap on the Mets.
Fair enough.
Um, but but let's get to the AL wild card.
Yeah.
We talked about the AL East,
Yeah.
not necessarily locked up, but when you have 17 games left and you got a 4-game lead, I mean, like there's going to have to be some crazy happenings
Yeah. You're gonna have to do
from
some.
your team and from the team behind you in
Yep.
order for something to happen.
Yep.
To where that lead is going to shrink, or you're going to lose that status as a first place team. So let's just just for the sake of argument, let's say Toronto wins the AL East, which they, I mean, more than likely will.
Yeah.
We have and I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but freaking Cleveland is 3 games out of the final wild card, and I still will not understand how this team is ever even in the mix. This is one of the worst offenses ever. This offense sucks. Like I look, the Cubs offense is cold, but when your offense is cold and you still have a a a, a 100 plus run differential, I think you're okay. When you're negative 39, yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, that's not like, oh, we had a bad month. No, we're having a bad 5 months with the bats.
Yeah.
But you have New York and Boston tied for that lead wild card.
Yep.
New York's in first place by 0.01 percentage point.
Whatever that means.
It means that if the season ended today, they would host a 3-game set. So,
Yeah.
and then, but you have Boston there, you have Seattle, who just they're such an enigma to themselves. Like they will go on these streaks, and then Jeff Passan will say something, and then they'll lose like 8 in a row, and then they'll win 6 in a row, and then they'll lose 5 in a row, and now they're winning 5 in a row. If they just, it's like Jekyll and Hyde down there, and uh, it's incredible too because Seattle is a game and a half up on that third wild card spot. They're closer into winning the AL West than they are at getting third place in the wild card. So
Yeah.
that's what's nuts about that third wild card is whoever wins the AL West, like
You go
whoever loses the AL West,
you
is
go
going
from
to
hosting to
squeak
barely
into the
making it in.
playoffs as
Yeah.
the third wild card.
Yeah.
That's what's nuts.
Yeah.
And because the AL East is just stacked,
You
and
know,
I don't think anything's going to happen to the Yankees and the Red Sox unless Seattle or Texas go on this torrid run
well,
toward the end of the season.
let me stop you there. I don't think it all depends on Seattle. A lot depends on the Yankees themselves. The Red Sox, they've been doing the Red Sox thing all year long, but I am worried about the Yankees and the way they've been playing baseball. I thought they were figuring some things out,
Yeah.
and when I saw them in their series against Houston, seeing as Houston was the division leader at the time and obviously still are the division leader, I saw them play really good baseball, and I thought to myself, okay, they're really like putting things together. Like they got through their their whatever low point during the summer. They're putting things together. They're figuring out what works well on their offense. And then they played Detroit 2 days ago.
Yeah.
They're with the Detroit series, and then
Yeah.
they get obliterated. They're just
Yeah.
not competitive at all. So my thing with them is,
Don't take credit away from Jack Flaherty. He pitched a hell of a game.
well,
So-
sure. I mean, you have to pitch a hell of a game to get what, 1 run? 11-1 was the final score. But my observation on this is that it seems like the Yankees are really good at beating up on mediocre to bad teams, which is okay, I guess. But you can't beat good teams. So when I stopped you saying it all depends on the Mariners, as far as what happens with that wild card, I think it could also depend on what the Yankees schedule looks like in the next 2 weeks. Not only that, this also gives me uncertainty looking at Houston as the division leader, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe Houston isn't in place to win that division. And you just hinted
Well,
at
look, I mean, if you're going to go off the thought that in the idea that the Yankees are just really good at beating up on bad teams, which isn't a bad thing. You should do that. You should beat up on the bad teams. Let me give you some hope. Right now, the Yankees are beating the Tigers 9-2 in the top of the ninth.
Yep.
So tomorrow
But they
through
lost
Sunday,
they lost the last 2.
they did. They did. They lost the last 2 handedly, and so now they're returning the favor. So from this weekend is they will be at Fenway playing a 3-game slate against the Red Sox. After that, it's a 9-game road trip. So
Yeah.
they're in Fenway, then they go to Target Field to play the Twins. No, it's a 10-game road trip because they got 4 games in Camden to play the Orioles. And the Orioles are hot right now. They've won like 5 in a row, so watch out. But then they have a day off, and then they're home for the final 6 games of the season against the Pale Hose and the Orange Birds, the Orioles. So they're going to
Hose?
the White Sox. Yeah, it's a euphemism for the White Sox. Everyone knows this.
Never heard that.
What?
No.
Oh, man, it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite nicknames. The
I've
Pale Hose.
never heard the Pale Hose.
Yeah. So the Pale Hose come to town, and then the Orange Birds come to town. So
So they have an easy schedule ahead of them, is what you're telling me. Winnable.
it's starting Monday. Starting Monday, they do, because this stretch where they have played in the stretch in September where they have played Houston Toronto,
Yep.
and Detroit.
Yep.
They
They
are
got
one,
obliterated in all
two,
those games.
3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5-4. That's not bad against those teams. I
No,
mean,
but
they took 2 or 3 from Toronto, which is good. I mean, they're losing to Detroit right now, but Detroit's a different. I mean, they're a better team than the Yankees are.
well,
We
that's
know
my point
this
though. They're
because we
they're
saw.
the def-
Because we saw. Yeah,
they're the definition of mediocre. That's my thing. Like, okay, sure, you can do good enough to be mediocre and make a wild card game. Like that's the whole point of the wild cards. Like the mediocre teams make it, and the division winners should win those wild card games. I know the anomalies happen where teams that are in the wild card game, a la the Diamondbacks, will make a little streak. But wild card teams are, in my opinion, mediocre teams. If you can't beat a better team, you're in the wild card. You have to play the better team, which is the division winner. Like it's set up for them to not have good success.
yeah, um, yeah. The Yankees. It looks like the Yankees are 47-34 so far
Mm-hmm.
when playing teams with a record below 500. So, I mean, look, I mean that's what 55% of the time,
That's
60% of the time.
not good.
So,
I don't think that's good.
I mean, they're 80-63. So, I mean, what you expect? So, but 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 as we're looking at the landscape here, we can, and then so let's take a look at Boston's schedule.
Mm. So
Boston. I wonder.
in a,
I wonder who the Red Sox play this weekend. Let's see.
oh,
So, so the Red Sox, of course, will be in Fenway to play
yep.
the Yankees, and then they have an off day on Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and then they stay home to play the A's,
Yep, and then
and
Tampa.
then they have a 3-game set against the Rays, and then here you go, they finish the season 3 on the road against the Blue Jays and 3 at
Yep.
home against the Tigers.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is if the Yankees, and this honestly couldn't work out better for the Yankees because why not have the Blue Jays and Red Sox beat up on each other, and the Yankees just win the games.
I mean, true, but
Anthony Volpe's not playing, so they have a really good shot.
at the end of the day, they're not chasing the Red Sox. They're chasing Toronto, which has a 4.5 game lead on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the math just doesn't math. They're sitting comfortably in a wild card slot no matter what happens.
The math doesn't math, bro.
not really. But speaking of the wild card teams, there's what we should give a little bit of credit and a little bit of attention to the Seattle Mariners because they're on a hot streak. They're doing really well.
They really are.
You mentioned their streak, but they
Mm-hmm.
also have Big Dumper, which has had a miraculous season. Maybe the media got tired of covering him, so I haven't necessarily seen as much about Big Dumper. But after he broke the catcher's home run record,
Mm-hmm.
2 months ago? When was this? 2 months? I think it was at the beginning of August. And at the same time, Aaron Judge got hurt. Is it just like a lock? Should it be a lock that he should win MVP for the AL?
Honestly, it should be damn near a lock because okay, look, I know what Aaron Judge does. I know what he brings. Um, we all know that, he's who did he just pass? Yogi Berra on the Yankees home run list, all career homers. Was it Yogi? I think it was Yogi.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
DiMaggio. He's
Okay,
tied with
so now
DiMaggio.
he's tied for DiMaggio.
Yeah.
Okay. So I knew he passed Yogi, now he's tied with DiMaggio.
Yep.
But when you look at uh Cal Raleigh, it's not just the amount of amount of homers he's hitting. And of course you can look at his batting average, you could say only 240, his career average is 224. So, he's already hitting better than that. This dude plays catcher. And he plays catcher at a high level.
Yeah, he does.
And he was He's played 111 games at catcher. I don't know how many games has he DH'd? Okay, so he's DH'd in 33 of them. Okay, so he's been in almost every game,
Mm-hmm.
which is still a feat all on its own. When you're a catcher, you're looking for some days off. He's had 10 days off. No, he's had 0 days off, it looks like. So he's played 144 games. He's maybe had 2 days off
Mm-hmm.
this whole season. He played catcher at 111 games. That is bonkers. That's just bonkers. And for him to play catcher at the level he's playing it defensively is still like admirable for the amount of wear and tear that he's going to have on himself. Now, look, this isn't new for him. He played 135 games. He had a so he started 109 this year. He had 125 starts last year. Had 114 starts the year before that. So it's not new for him to do this. What is new is him hitting over 50 homers. That's what's new.
Yeah.
And for him to continue to do it beyond the All-Star break, to break the single season catcher's home run record, and then still, I mean, conceivably be able to be the fourth Yankee of all time to hit six. No, not fourth Yankee. The uh, uh, not Yankee. The fourth American leaguer
I
to
thought you
hit
were
six.
I thought you were trying to plug him into like if he was a Yankee, he'd be at this
No,
point.
no. If it was a Yankee, it'd be the fourth Yankee ever to hit 60 homers in a season.
Yeah.
But uh, but to but but to be able to be the fourth American leaguer ever to hit 60 homers in a season. I mean, I mean, he's a catcher, and
Oh,
it's
how
look.
hard is it to be catcher? You just sit there, catch the
Oh my
ball.
goodness! I'm not going to good cop bad cop this
I'm
with you.
just kidding.
That's ridiculous.
I'm kidding.
That is
I,
just asinine,
I
sir.
am kidding. Catchers might as well are the quarterbacks of the
They
baseball.
are. They're the captains.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Before I get roasted on social media, I'm kidding. I know the catcher's job is the all-encompassing of what happens on defense. I'm not talking crap. It's just a joke. But yeah, you are right. Like as a catcher, it's not very common to see the catcher being a driving force on the offensive side of the ball. So it's impressive. It really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
But
But what are you gonna say?
no, I was gonna ask you on that side, on the standings, if there was there's 3 teams on the standings within, like throwing a pebble away from sneaking into the wild card. I don't see it happening very likely, but between the Texans, the Guardians, and the Royals, would it surprise you if any one of those teams snuck into the wild card, and if so, which one?
It wouldn't surprise me if the Rangers did it.
Okay.
I I mean, the Rangers are a very very good team, and like I said, they just swept the hottest team in baseball for the last 5 months, the Milwaukee Brewers. They
Mm-hmm.
just swept them,
Mm-hmm.
and and look, let's not underestimate just the the management of Bruce Bochy. Bruce Bochy is one of the best managers that's ever managed the game of baseball. This dude is a legend, and he's doing it with the Texas Rangers right now. And 2 years after he helped them win their very first World Series ever,
Yeah.
they're on the verge of making the playoffs. Like
Mhm.
they have a legit shot at sneaking in here. Now, if you're going to ask me, uh, which team would they replace? It's going to be between the Yankees and Red Sox.
Yeah.
It's going to be between those two teams. And so because I don't see the Mariners flopping right now. The
Mm,
Mariners pitching staff is way too good. I know the offense has its streaks, but look, they're putting up the numbers right now in order to win these ball games.
Yep.
But the Yankees and the Red Sox, um, and besides also the Mariners too have the AL West they're playing for. Hell, the Rangers are playing for the AL West. So I mean, look, they have 3 teams playing for the AL West right now. two of which are playing for the wild, and all three are playing for the wild card. So you have all three teams playing for the AL West and all three playing for the wild card. Because if whoever doesn't win the AL West, well, they better hope they make the wild card.
Yeah.
And the teams that they're going to replace could be either the Yankees, the Red Sox, or both.
Yeah. It
There,
could be.
there is a universe where right now the Yankees and Red Sox are tied with a 2.5 game lead
And
in
they
the
both
wild
make the
card,
playoffs.
and neither one of them makes the playoff. Neither one of them.
There is.
There is a universe
There is.
where that happens.
You know what is crazy for me to even consider? The fact that if I had to choose which one is more likely to fall out of the wild card or out of the playoffs completely, I would have to lean with the Yankees. And it breaks my heart to say that because I don't like the Red Sox. I was told hate the Red Sox once I was crowned to be a Yankees fan for the rest of my life. I was told hate the Red Sox, but seeing what I've seen with the Yankees, I would have to think that if there was a team to fall out of that spot, it would be the Yankees. It's so
Yeah.
I'll wrap up baseball talk by saying the same thing that I said at the beginning of the segment. It is by far one of the most wild regular season endings that I can remember since I've been following baseball, where anything is really on the table, and teams that you would expect to be cemented as playoff guarantees could easily fall out of the playoffs completely. Not even just division, wild card, completely just miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just like I'm saying the Yankees could. On the NL side, I'm going to ask you the same question, but I have a feeling I know the answer. The Reds, the Giants, underreported that they're so close to the wild card race, the Giants. And the Diamondbacks. I'm gonna guess that if there was a team that you would think could sneak into the wild card spots, you're gonna go with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past the Reds or the Giants either. Like this, like I'm torn. Like I don't, and it's one of those things. It's like, fighting for the middle seat in your dad's Volkswagen. So it's like, okay, well, who cares? Just whoever gives me the most elbow room as the driver,
Yeah.
I don't care. So, but I mean, I'm not thoroughly impressed with either the Mets, the Reds, the Giants, or the Diamondbacks. They all have myriad problems, respectively. I mean, Ketel Marte is out.
Yep.
I have no idea what's going to happen with the Giants. I know, it doesn't hurt to have Rafael Devers and um, uh, Willie Adames in that lineup. And then, what's going to happen with Verlander is are the Giants going to win more than one game when Verlander starts? I mean,
They're all over the place. Just put it that way.
the Reds, it's it's honestly going to come down to just that pitching staff.
Yep.
They have Andrew Abbott, but and then Hunter Green's there, and then we have and on the defensive side you got Cabrian Hayes, you got Ellie De La Cruz, and then on the offensive side it's also Ellie De La Cruz, TJ Fradel. It's really going to come down to just this team as a whole. What are they going to bring? Is the pitching going to hold up? And that's always been a criticism of the Reds as an organization. Can they get their pitchers to the next level? There's been question marks that Hunter Green could be better if he was in an organization, hell, even like Pittsburgh. If he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates, he'd have exploded already. So there are pitching infrastructure questions with the Reds as to why the Reds cannot sustain the success with their starters. And then also the offense. The offense is 9 infielders or 8 infielders in the pitcher. So they're playing all different positions. So it's just a matter of what's going to happen there. And then, of course, the Mets. this is honestly, I I can't be here every year talking about
Oh, but
how the Mets just continue to Met. Like and like I don't say it to hate on them. I say it because it's true. I
yeah,
mean, this
that's why it's
team,
they're metting because it's true of the reality of how they play baseball. They
this team
always do it.
continues to find ways to to just deflate. And um, whether it's just this weird rotation that they have, Kodai Senga is just deflated since the All-Star break. Um, Clay Holmes is showing that he probably is already worn down. Um, and which makes sense. The dude was a reliever, and
Yeah,
now he's a starter now. And but I I don't know. I know the Mets are trying to. I know the Mets fandom's trying to sit there and make a case for it because they're like, oh, Soto's coming on at the right time. This is great, but there should be no such thing as Soto ever coming on at the right time. Soto should be on all the time. He should be on all the time with all the money he's making.
yeah.
So,
There's no on switch on what? How much did they pay him? $400 million or whatever the hell they paid him.
wasn't it like 600 something million
I
dollars?
I don't know. It doesn't
I don't.
outrageous.
I can't. I can't remember.
Here, let me
But
let me ask you something because I would. There's certain viewers that we have that would hate if we don't talk about this team a little bit more in depth. So we'll take, let's call it 2 minutes to talk about the beloved Dodgers of yours and where the hell they are standing right now. I know I'm like kind of jumping into the conversation we're having, but I feel like we needed to touch on the Dodgers just a bit before we move on from the baseball conversation. We sat here opening day, April, All-Star break, and we said there's no reason the Dodgers aren't going to run away with this division. We didn't see too much, we weren't too hopeful about what the rest of the division was looking like. They were going to run away with that division. It was going to be a number one seed for them going into the playoffs. And now we have them. Sure, they're still sitting in number one, but they're only 3 games ahead of the Padres for that division lead. Besides the obvious question of they're just plagued with injuries and they're pitching somehow even after they spent $500 million on their pitching rotation, whatever the number was.
yeah.
They're still having pitching issues, and they have been hit by the injury plague. Besides those two things, what is going on with the Dodgers in your eyes?
Well, I mean, look, let's start out with just the good of it all. Mookie Betts has absolutely found his stride the last month or so. This is a ridiculous hot streak that he's on, and no doubt one of the reasons why the Dodgers are still in it. One of the things that I think is plaguing them outside of the pitching, we all know the pitching's an issue. Snell's back now, so that deepens the rotation. But um, you know, there's a lot of defensive issues in the outfield with this team. I mean, Teoscar Hernandez seems to get called out by Dave Roberts every day, just for his defensive liabilities out there. And and part of me is like, well, surely they can find a way to put Mookie back in the outfield. But that doesn't really solve the problem because, well, you can't put Teoscar at DH because Shohei's at DH. So you really got no place to put Teoscar. And so, but then, so it's defensive liabilities in the outfield. Um, there's no telling how long this hot stretch from Mookie is going to carry. I mean, he's only gotten hotter as as the last 30 days have gone on. And then, of course, the question marks with Roki Sasaki. Is he going to come back up? If he does come back up, is he going to be in the bullpen, or is he going to still be stretched out as a starter for the Dodgers? What's going to happen there? Will Smith, of course, is out. Half the bullpen's been out for half the year. So but this is we could sit here and just point out all the problems with the Dodgers, but that's the difference between the Dodgers and the Mets. Okay, they both spend money, but the Dodgers are filled with ball players that are ready to face a challenge, ready to come out on top when it's time to do that, and the Mets just aren't. The Mets are not filled with players that are ready to just take
It's just not
just
the
take
Mets.
the punches as they come. And what is that song, Bluebird by Miranda Lambert? The world keeps giving me lemons, I'll mix them in my drink. That's the Dodgers. The Dodgers will take. They are the bluebirds of baseball. They will take lemons and mix them in their drink, and then the Mets are, I don't know, any George Thorogood song where it's uh, 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 one whiskey, one bourbon, one beer, and we'll just see what happens. But I just it's um uh I, if I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm not going to be concerned. I'm not, because
No, of course not.
this is still a Dave Roberts managed team, and for all those who can take exception to Dave Roberts, I'm one of them. I think he's pompous, but uh, but he has continued to lead this team to not continued World Series success. I mean, they won last year. Um, you know, brought to you by the New York Yankees.
Fifth inning, we know. Fifth inning.
Game five, fifth inning.
Move on with life.
But it's
Killing me, JP. You're killing me.
But no, look, I mean, the Dodgers will always have a chance. They will always have a chance. Dave Roberts, no matter, like I said, no matter what you think of him, he seems to have the pulse of this team. He has the pulse. The players trust him.
Yeah.
He trusts the players. And, uh, you know, there's a reason that Teoscar gets called out almost every game for being a bonehead out there. And yet he's out there every game. And so, and partly it's because of his bat, because what he can bring offensively, and because you can't put him at DH. Because, well, if you think Teoscar is going to give you problems in the outfield, imagine Shohei out there.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So I, I don't think it's too much of a concern for Dave Roberts right now,
No.
because he sees the alternative. So, um, the Dodgers will be fine. The Dodgers will win the NL West. I don't see the Padres doing it. The Padres went on a run there a little bit, but they have sorely lacked any sort of just player continuity.
Yep.
Jackson Merrill, since he's been back, has just been not himself at the plate. This team is just not there pitching wise. They're just not there offensively.
You know what? Maybe we're being maybe I'm just being very pessimistic about the Dodgers, and maybe that's a little bit of a bias. Perhaps looking on the other side of the coin for the Dodgers team, it should be a good sign that even though they have so many injuries and so many struggles, they are still first in the division, and they're still they have a 3-game lead regardless on the division race. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it shows that no matter how many struggles they go through, that they can still calm the tides, as they say, or whatever the saying is, and they can still hold on to the division lead.
Who, the Dodgers?
Yeah,
No, I have very little doubt that the Dodgers are going to hold on to the division lead. I think they're going to win it. I think they're going to take it. And
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe the fact that they're still in the division lead, even though they have so many injuries and so many questions on the pitching side, they're still in the division lead. Maybe it's a good thing that if they do get healthy by the time playoffs come, they'll only get better.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's how they always are.
Yeah.
I mean, we always, every year we're like, oh, the Dodgers, oh, they're slumping in, mid-June. Oh, early July, oh, they're slumping. That's what they do every year. They've done that every year since Babe Ruth rode the dinosaurs. Like, this is just what they've done, and there's just and that's just how they stay fresh. They're just keeping it fresh.
Yep.
They're like, you know, that married couple. It's been 10 years, and they're like, let's take a cruise. Is it a swingers cruise? I don't know. Do we want to try? Maybe. They're just keeping it loose. They're just trying to stay fresh. And so,
They're keeping an open mind. They're keeping an open.
yeah, they're just, okay, how are we gonna make this work? I'm gonna go long term with this. So it's, the Dodgers will be fine once they get there. I'm just
Yeah.
like part of me thinks that the Mets will still make the playoffs. I think the Mets will figure it out. I'm going to go on a limb here and say the Mets will figure it out.
No.
Only because I mean, for all the issues that are going on with the Mets, there's just as many with the Reds, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks.
They'll just
So,
stay in it by default.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
if I'm gonna pick a team to make it based off of the manager, okay, Carlos Mendoza for the Mets, Terry Francona for the Reds, Bob Melvin for the Giants, Terry Lavulo for the Diamondbacks. If I'm gonna pick a team to make it based on the manager alone, I'm picking the Reds because I'm never gonna count out Terry Francona ever. I'm never gonna do that. So, we'll
Okay.
see what happens.
Okay. Well, that is our I guess at this point, like our quarterly check-in into baseball. It feels like forever since we talked baseball. But as we wrap up baseball, week 1 of the NFL season came and went, and there is a lot of stuff that we want to talk about. We're going to keep it short and simple and to the point, but we have to address some of the results from week 1, what we're seeing from teams, and what our expectations are going into week 2, or maybe even long-term expectations based off of our overreactions from week 1 of the NFL season. So let's go over some stories from the NFL week 1.
Yes, hit me.
So let's talk about your defending second place winners of the Super Bowl. Let's talk about the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
Defending second place winners. Yes, that makes sense. Let's talk about the Chiefs for a minute. They played the Brazil game. And let me throw this out there first off. I'm not too big on the international games once again. We talked about this during college. I'm still on the boat of not too sure how I feel about international games for the NFL, especially when they're counting certain games as home games for one team. As fans, I feel like you're getting screwed over. But going into the game side of things, the Chiefs, watching that game, looked a little scrambled, a little unexplosive on the offensive side of the ball. JB, are you concerned about the Chiefs' offense and what it's going to dictate for the rest of the season?
I'm concerned with the Chiefs' offense based on whatever happens with Xavier Worthy. I think Mahomes built such a rapport with his second-year receiver this offseason that the moment Worthy left the game, he was lost. And I know Hollywood Brown had 10 catches in that game. Travis Kelce got 2, and one of them was a touchdown.
Yep.
Juju, did, Juju voodoo out on the field, whatever. But however Xavier Worthy looks on the field in this offense, I think is going to come a long way to see how this Chiefs offense is going to respond going forward for the rest of the season. Now, you could look at it in a positive light if you're a Chiefs fan, say, okay, Xavier wasn't there. Patty was able to get the ball around. But it's obvious that he really only has like 2 or 3 guys that he really, really trusts. And I would say that it's Kelsey, it's Hollywood, and it's Worthy. I think Juju's there just as a security blanket, just in case he needs something. But those are the guys that he trusts. And, and then even if you look at the run game for Kansas City, Mahomes was the leading rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs in that game. and Mahomes also threw 39 passes.
Yeah.
He had a passer rating under 90, which is unheard of if you're Patrick Mahomes. So it's, I think the biggest thing here is that, and I harped on this all off season. I don't know what's going on with that offensive line. I don't know who the tackles are that are there to protect Patrick Mahomes from just getting walloped um, every single game. And so, but uh, you know, moving forward, it's going to be one of those things where because if you can't, uh, the offense seems so much focused on Patrick Mahomes that I think they take away the running game. And I know Patty can run the ball. I get that. But even if you account for Mahomes' rushes, that was only 6, 16, 17 rushes that entire game.
Yeah.
17. And there was no reason for them to have to play airball so much in that game. It
No.
wasn't a blowout. They were never at a point where they had to really just like, oh, let's hurry up and get some points. Because one, Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. You never have to worry about it. But two, I think it's just indicative of, you know, maybe it was just how they played the Chargers. The Chargers defense is good against the run. So Pacheco and Hunt weren't going to be nearly as effective. And the stat line shows that they weren't effective really at all. So it's I mean, Pacheco had a 5-yard average, but he had 5 carries.
Yeah.
So if he was at 5-yard average, you'd keep pounding, let him pound the rock. Am I concerned about the Chiefs? No, I'm not, because they're still the Chiefs. They're still the Chiefs, and
Wouldn't you though? I think there is some level of concern.
there's too much of a track. There is too much of a track record for this Chiefs team for me to sit here and say, oh, because they lost to an upstart Charger team, a team that revamped their running back room, a
Yep.
team that came in with a stout defense already, a team with Jim Harbaugh as their coach, and Justin Herbert's still the quarterback, and Keenan Allen still has some juice there. Which, and honestly, I think the lack of the lack of a receiver room for the Chargers, they use it to their benefit because of how strong their running back room is. When you have a Marion Hampton and Najee Harris as your 1 and 2, teams are going to have to cheat in order to protect the run, which is going to open up the vertical for your receivers.
Sure.
But on the Chiefs side, you still have Andy Reid is still a legend at the head coaching position. Steve Spagnuolo is still a legend as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
So no matter, I get they start 0-1. I understand the human nature of it all to sit here and say, oh, but it's the Chiefs. If we all treat, I feel like people treat the Chiefs downfall and continued downfall like Horton hears the Who. Like if we're not all yelling, then then we can't hear the Who's on the flower. And so if we all yell loud enough, if the whole Whoville yells loud enough, the Patriots will fail. I mean, the Chiefs will fail. The Chiefs are not going to fail, no matter how loud we are. With our rhetoric about Week 1 against the Chargers in Brazil, against an upstart Charger team.
I will be the one with the pitchforks and the freaking torch and everything, talking about how it's a concern for the Chiefs how they looked. Not only because of how they looked, but because the Chargers, as you call them, the up and coming team, are looking really good. That offense looks like their quarterback and the quarterback head coach dynamic is really starting to click this year. Justin Herbert, just watching that game, he just looked like he was so comfortable in that offense. The Chargers are in their division, so you have to keep pace with them. But at the same time, if you're struggling with a tough defense,
Mhm.
your schedule doesn't get any easier. You have
Yeah.
the Broncos. You still have 2 games against the Broncos, and looking at the way the Broncos played this weekend or this
I'm not
past,
concerned looking at the way the Broncos played this weekend.
well,
I'm
I'm not.
not concerned at all.
But if you look at their defensive side, their defense does
I mean,
break.
if you look at the defensive side, yeah, I mean, sure, but
Well, that's my point, though. Like the Chiefs have to go. Patrick Mahomes has to go against the Broncos defense. The defense is probably what made sure that the Broncos were able to stay in that game and win that game. You still have to go through the Broncos and the Chargers one more time. If you struggle against the Chargers the way you did, it's not the path's not getting any easier for you to repeat as division champions. There's reason for
okay.
concern for me.
As much as it hurts me to do this, okay, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play bad cop to everything you just said. Throw up the graphic.
Oh, where's the graphic?
Mhm.
We have Bad Cop in the house.
Okay. Ooh, it's again. I love it. I, this is going to be impromptu bad cop, okay? Because you just brought up something, and I remember watching the Bronco game against the Titans on
Yep.
Sunday. I remember watching it,
Yep.
and I remember being really impressed with Cam Ward in that game. Now, you just brought up that the Chiefs are going to have to play the Broncos twice. Absolutely, they are, okay? And the Chiefs, of course, are the only 0-1 team in the AFC West. Everyone not a Chiefs fan is celebrating. It's over. Oh, the rain is finally done. Woohoo! No, it's not. If the rain is done, it's not because of what happened this weekend. It will be because of what happens the rest of the season. But you just brought up the Bronco defense
Yep.
and how they're going to have to play the Chiefs twice. Okay, I get that. If you watch that Titan game,
Yeah.
the Broncos are up 20-12.
Yep.
There was no reason for the Broncos to. They left room for the receivers. The receivers had 2 steps on the defense on that last drive of the game for Tennessee. If Cam Ward, who by the way has an absolute cannon for an arm, this ball just, my God, it just screams from his shoulder. I mean, it is so fast. It hurt my hands just looking at it. If he doesn't have, if he has just a little less mustard on the ball, just a smidge less mustard, Calvin Ridley catches those balls.
Well,
And the Titans march down the field. And who knows, maybe they tie it. But my point is that if that Bronco defense looked that way against my projected rookie of the year, Cam Ward, who I think is and will be the second coming of Steve McNair for this franchise, Cam Ward, if Cam Ward looked that way against the Broncos, imagine how much Patrick Mahomes can actually shred that defense.
wow.
Imagine Patrick Mahomes, a seasoned quarterback with the ability to run and with the ability to get the ball to his receivers. Imagine what the Broncos defense could look like in those games against Kansas City. Am I saying that Kansas City is going to win those games? No, I'm not. But being bad cop here against your take that the Chiefs they're done now because
I'm
they have
not
to play the
saying they're
Broncos
done.
twice.
I'm saying
There's 3 losses right there.
I'm
Oh, let's
saying
just
they have a rough path ahead of them, especially
they
in that
do. Of
division.
course, it's the NFL.
Well,
All the
that
talented players
division.
play in the NFL. Of course, they have a rough path ahead of them. Of course, they do. But to be bad cop here on to your point specifically, do not bring up that game against the Titans, that Bronco defense against rookie quarterback Cam Ward as a reason to sit there and to be like uh uh Dio and have a shot in the dark and say, hey, Could the Broncos sweep the season series against the Chiefs?
No.
No, I don't think so.
That is not what I'm saying at all, JB. That is not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying based off of what I saw with the Chiefs and what they have in front of them, like we already went over the Xavier Worthy concerns about him being out.
Which he's back on the practice field.
Okay, there's still concerns for him. We also have the Rashid Rice suspension.
Rashid Rice, yeah, he's out for 5 more weeks.
So what? My concern is what receivers are left besides Kelsey and Hollywood. Like, there's not that many pieces for the Chiefs' offense to really be an explosive offense. I saw what Mahomes was doing against the Chargers. He gave me there was a specific pass where it gave me flashbacks against the game against Tampa in the Super Bowl when Tom Brady beat them. Where he was like parallel with the ground trying to make something happen out of their offense. That is what I saw against the Chargers. All I'm saying is that there should be reason for concern based off of how they played, what their schedule is going to look like, and what the division is looking like. So just listen to the next 3 games for the Chiefs are the Eagles this weekend, the Giants, and the Ravens. It is not out of the question that the Chiefs could be 1-3 a quarter into the season. It wouldn't surprise me if they were 1-3 because they just are not keeping pace with the rest of those teams. That their offense is just not there. They're missing something about that offense. Could they figure it out? Sure. After Rice comes back, could they start clicking a little bit better? Sure. But how big of a hole are they going to be in? And then again, considering their division, is it going to be too big of a hole to come back from and win that division or make the playoffs? That is my concern for them.
I understand that, but the schedule didn't change whether or not they beat or they lost to the Chargers. The Chargers were always in the mix and in this algorithm of what the Chiefs' first quarter of a season was going to look like. And I will say this in the Chiefs' favor, and I hate that I'm defending them so much, but just as as a guy that loves sports and watches it regularly and tracks it and has a passion for it, I do have to defend the point when I see that it needs defending. And the Chiefs, one of the things that they have going for them this week against the Eagles, okay? Now, the Jalen Hurts was not under pressure at all from the Dallas Cowboys.
Your MVP pick.
Yeah, I know, my MVP pick. Yeah, and I'm sticking with it too, regardless of what happens against the Chiefs on Sunday. Regardless of what happens, that Eagles offensive line was not under pressure really at all from a pass rush perspective. There was no pass rush at all. Okay, this Chiefs defense is going to give a pass rush to Jalen Hurts. It will. This is a front four that can absolutely attack you and get to the quarterback. They sacked Justin Herbert 3 times. He's not immobile. Is he as mobile as Jalen Hurts? No. Very few people are as mobile as Jalen Hurts are. But there is a pass rushing aspect from this Chiefs defense that will play a factor for this Chiefs team, which I'm sure they're playing for and they're practicing for because Jalen Carter was only suspended for that one game, which is still just absolute bullcrap. Anyway, the Eagles will have their own issues there. Now, if you're the Eagles, one of the things you have also is a pass rush that can affect the quarterback
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, or two of the things, that the Chiefs don't have are left and right tackles. They don't have those. I think they have cardboard cutouts that are in the 3-point stance. But beyond that, Mahomes really doesn't have anybody protecting his blind side or his sight side. Like he's got no protection on either end. So this this Eagles Chiefs game is going to come down to who can get to the quarterback more effectively and more often. Whoever can get to the quarterback more effectively and more often, that's who's going to win the game. Now, if you're asking me who I think is going to win the game, I think the Eagles win the game. I do, which would put the Chiefs in an 0-2 hole, but
Yeah.
that's not insurmountable.
So
It's
you
not.
won't be concerned if the Chiefs are 0-2 after this weekend.
No, I wouldn't be. Because of who they lost to.
Well,
It's not like they lost to the Browns and the Panthers. Like they lost. If they lose to the Eagles, then they're 0-2 against two teams that were in the playoffs last year. So it's not as if it's the end of the world. The Chiefs will figure it out. It's an 18-game season. The NFL is not beholden to BCS rankings or rankings within the voting committee to see who's going to be number one. That their destiny's in their hands.
true. I mean, I would beg to differ as far as the level of concern if they were 0-2. I think the statistics that I was looking up said that 10% of teams that start the season 0-2 actually make the playoffs. Even a smaller percent of those teams make the Super Bowl. And the last teams that made the playoffs was the 2023 Houston Texans and the 2022 Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
We can go back and forth as far as what that means, but they're not in good company, and the statistics don't do them any favors when it comes to what the future looks like for that team. But
Yeah, I'm not arguing the statistics, but it's still the Kansas City Chiefs. And look, let's make it poetic, okay? You said that they play the Eagles and then they play the Giants.
Yep.
Okay? Let's make it poetic. Let's say the Chiefs face the Giants and they're 0-2 and they beat the Giants. Well, what if they beat the Giants, who were also 0-2 in 2007 and won the Super Bowl? So let's just make it poetic. Let's just put money on it right now. If they're 0-2 and they beat the Giants, look, curse is broken. They're going to win the Super Bowl as a wild card. There we go.
Well, you are grabbing from over here, and you are taking it over here, and you are smashing it together to make some poetic storyline. We will see. We're gonna bookmark this conversation and see how this game goes, and we are going to analyze how, even if they win the Eagles game, we're going to analyze how that game looked if we are confident and we are reassessing how the Chiefs look after beating or losing to the defending Super Bowl champions. But we'll end it on that note as we get ready for week 2, where we are watching the Packers destroy the Washington Commies on Thursday night. And they were my conference championship team, one of the two conference championship teams, and they're looking pretty good. But we will bookmark this conversation, and we will talk about college football next week. We will do a small check-in on baseball, and of course, we will talk more NFL football after this weekend has come and gone. JB, get us out of here. Did you have your bottle in front of you?
No, I left it downstairs, but I'm drinking a Four Roses single barrel.
Ooh, I like Four Roses. That's
Yep, and I'm smoking a Plantation Reserve Churchill.
Nice.
Yeah.
I popped open. You'll have to help me with the pronunciation of this. The Calumet.
You're doing so good.
Calumet Farm.
Column E.
Calumet. Kentucky straight bourbon. It was pretty good. 90 proof. It is what it is. A little bit on the more bitter side, but it was pretty good. I've been drinking it for about that much. So, okay, JB. As people follow along, where can they interact with us, and where can they hear the full episodes of our conversations?
Got the full episodes, Box Scores and Bourbon or Box Scores and Bourbon at YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. The video episodes and additional content at BSB Sports 24 on TikTok, the Gram, and X.
All
Until
right.
next time, folks, stay thirsty.
Cheers, everyone. But Jerry Jones.